Barrier Fencing Supply is a fencing wholesaler and distributor based out of Supply, North Carolina. Whether you need fencing, fencing products, fencing accessories, or various other construction materials related to your fencing needs, we have the products you are looking for at today's most competitive prices around. Ask us today about bulk pricing packages. Call 910-269-8661. Contact us by email at sales@barrierfencingproducts.com. Barrier Fencing Supply, proud supporter of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast.
Hey, good evening, race fans. Welcome back to another Inside edition of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast with Kip Thompson. We just heard from one of our big sponsors, Barrier Fencing Supply, out of Supply, North Carolina. Huge supporters of our program. We're so thankful to have them as a part of our team. And also tonight's show is being brought to you in part by Atwell Exterior Services out of Greenville, North Carolina. Trevor Atwell, Team Atwell Racing. We're going to hear from them as we close out tonight's show. Hey, tonight we're going to jump right in. We got a big, huge weekend coming inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. It's the return, the Fayetteville Motor Speedway back in action. And we have the Carolina Clash Super Late Model Dirt Series coming in the house. $5,000 to win, $500 to start. It's going to be a big show. The weather's going to be nice, we hope. And look, we've got with us again, he was a regular here on the show for a little bit. He's been a while, but hey, we're glad to have him back. Series director of the Carolina Clash, Joey Chapman. Man, good evening. Welcome back to the show. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. It's good to be back on the show. Does seem like it's been just a little while, but it's always good to be back and be part of this, man. Thank you again.
Well, we're super excited to have you back on the show. We're overexcited again to have one of the longest running, what we call blue collar racing series come back to the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. Just so our fans know that when the Carolina Clash Super Late Models make their way back into the Fayetteville Motor Speedway since the year 2000, this is the 78th trip to the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. Through those 77 prior trips, there's been 33 different winners. So we're going to talk about this big race coming up this weekend, and you will have to find out for yourself to see, is it a repeat winner? Do we have a 34th winner at the Fayetteville Motor Speedway? Joey, let's talk about it, man. This is going to be a great weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend, man. It'll be interesting to see if there's a new winner added to the list or not. I was just looking over some stuff from this year, and we've had, we've had 5 races so far this year. There's been 4 different winners. Ben Watkins is the only guy that's been able to repeat, so it just shows you the parity in the sport now. There's so many people capable of winning the race. And when we get to your house and Dave Mitchell's house this weekend, I expect the same thing. A lot of good, fast race cars, be a coin toss on who's going to win.
Well, it always is, you never can tell who's going to be up front, who's going to win the race, who's in contention with 15, 20 laps to go. Because I remember, Joey, you and I have always talked about this. People want, a big, huge field of cars. But what you guys strive to do is bring to any racetrack that you guys go to good quality race cars. And I remember, like, one of the first races that you guys had, first through 17th or 18th, man, it was like 0.6 of a second all the way down through 1 through 18. So when you're talking about quality race cars and the competition, man, that you guys bring, and it's everywhere, but it just seems like to me, for what I get to see firsthand, the competition, man, is so tight, man, in that class, your series that you guys have. It's incredible, and we're looking. It's going to be a great show. We've got, as you said, Ben Watkins. You've got multi-time series champion. You've got Dennis the Rambo Franklin. Gray Parton, man, who's a really, really good race car driver. You've got, Willie Milliken, our local guys. Like Willie, you've got Christian Thomas, you've got Dustin Mitchell, and we could just go on and on and on. And it's just going to be another one of those shows that whoever comes with the Clash, be ready, because you're always going to get your best shot with those local guys at their hometown racetrack.
Yes, sir. Anywhere you go in the country now, there's always some local guys that are sitting there ready, and they want to beat those guys when they come into town. And Fayetteville has always been that way. When you show up there from way back in the 90s, when you had to outrun the Edwards crowd, all the way up to now when Willie and Michael Rouse and Dustin Mitchell, when you show up, they're sitting there waiting on you and they are ready.
No doubt about it. You talk about Rouse now. Michael Rouse, he has had a phenomenal 2023 season. Christian Thomas has done really well here. The last couple of races, he's been, visiting some of the Ultimate Super Late Model Series races and really, really done a really, really good job. But I've always said, man, in the back of my mind, watch out for that 18, that Gray Parton. He is such a fierce competitor, always a contender there at the end, and it's going to be fun to watch him this weekend too.
Yeah, his day's coming. His day's coming. He's had a really steady, consistent season. Not very many ups and downs. And no matter where he starts, when you look up at the end of the night, there he is in the top 5. He's managed to take care of his equipment. He's qualified really well. And when he's not qualified well, he's raced really well. So all of those things are positive. And you do that day in and day out, your time's coming.
Oh, no doubt about it. It's called consistency, and being there at the end to give yourself a chance to be in a position to capture that win. And I'm with you on that. His day definitely is coming. So, hey, race fans, it is Thursday night. We're getting geared up. Now, we want to let everyone know tomorrow night, which is Friday, we're going to have open practice from 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock. You can come to the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. You might want to get a sneak peek of who may be there this weekend, turning some laps. 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock. It's $20 per person to get into the pit area. But any of you fans that want to just come and hang out and kind of get that feel to hear the rumble of those Carolina Class late models, you can come and watch for free in the grandstand. So, Joey, as drivers get prepared to come this weekend, excuse me, there's been some, kind of tire changes through series and stuff. Let's talk about, just so everybody knows, if they haven't heard, directly from you or on your Facebook page or whatever, talk about, what the deal is with tires this weekend for the Clash race.
Our tire rule hasn't changed. Once we switched over to the National Late Model Tire, our rule is the 2, the 3, and the 4, and we basically left it alone. There are some series that have cut out the 2s, and, we're looking at that, and there will come a day where we will probably go back to just 2 tires, but right now it is 2s, 3s, and 4s. We're, in constant communication with our drivers and stuff, and to kind of figure out what's best for everybody.
Okay. Well, when we talk about going in this weekend, now that you got the tire deal out of the way, again, a huge field of very, very competitive cars. Where are things like right now with the Clash as far as the point standings?
Well, Ben Watkins is out front. He's got about a 50-point lead over Gray Parton, and then Brett Ham and Adam Yarborough, rounds out the top 4. And there's not but about 70 points separating those 4. And that sounds like a lot of points, but it's really not. When from first to last place in a normal race, is about a 70-point swing. So it doesn't take but one night to really flip-flop those points. So it's going to be close. Ben has been a repeat winner, so that's probably the reason he's leading the points and stuff. But I look forward to those 4 battling it out all year long.
Well, when you talk about one of those cars that's in the top 4, I've already talked to him this week, bringing his new car to Fayetteville Motor Speedway, really, really looking to kind of master and get that monkey off of his back. Adam Yarborough, the Denver Dirt Slinger, the number 57, he's coming, and he's super excited. And I can tell you, man, from talking to him, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Joe, he's on a mission to have a really, really good finish this weekend at Fayetteville.
Well, that's good. I know he's had a few tough breaks early in the season, and I've always told people, I want to get my bad luck over with early. I would rather have my bad luck early in the season, and he's had a couple nights where he's had a couple of issues and stuff, but him and his dad and his mom and his crew, they work so hard, and it's going to pay off for them.
Well, and talking about that Yarborough family, his mom Judy, is a big sponsor with her realty company out of Lake Norman. I guess is it her turn this weekend for the Fast Time Qualifier Award?
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right. Well, we're going to be looking forward to that because it always, Mark Huey and I work together really well. When you guys come in, it gives me a chance to get out of the tower, and it keeps him from having to run down to interview your Fast Time Qualifier. And it's always fun for me, man, to be back in Racing for Heroes Victory Lane, where this all started, and you guys give me an opportunity to get back down into Racing for Heroes Victory Lane and talk to a fast time qualifier. So, man, we're looking forward to that. I always love being on that concrete pad. It's a special moment, man, because you know a guy, when there's one thing, to win the race, yes. Do you get pumped up over that? Yes, you do. But to know out of that stud field full of cars, hey, I'm fastest. I'm the fastest guy here right now. So it's got to be, as you always know, man, that's a huge momentum builder as you get ready to start heat racing and get ready for that main event.
Yeah, as they always say, it's easier to stay up front than it is to get to the front sometimes. So let's start up front, so when everybody, the first thing on their list when they come to the racetrack is let's be fastest qualifier, so when you do that, it just helps set the tone for the night too. That's when you check off, okay, we accomplished that. Now let's figure out what we can do to try to win the race.
Well, I can go ahead and confirm with you, or let me just say, I'm going to hope to deliver to the Carolina Clash Super Late Models and everybody else that's going to be running. We also will have our 602 late models, 602 Sport Modified. We'll have the street stocks. We'll have the Amsel Trucking Legends. And now last night, which was Wednesday, there were some cars there practicing. So you already know, Joey, if cars come to the racetrack, the track prep has already begun. So we will be looking tomorrow night, Friday, for our practice session. And that crew, Wayne Gray and the posse, will be doing their deal because, we don't want to see you and Dave Mitchell get into a fight because he changed up the dirt. He's been warned from Joey Chapman, and I told him, I said, Joey Chapman's a man of his word now, so you got to bring your A game. So we're looking forward to a very, very good racing surface. We've had a little bit of rain, how these hot days when you get, a downpour of rain. I mean, and a little bit of rain, probably wouldn't hurt the racetrack, but they will be doing everything that they can to build that stage to put on a great show for our fans.
Yeah, and that's another thing I tell people all the time about Fayetteville. Nobody gets it perfect all the time, but they do a phenomenal job of week in and week out preparing that racetrack. And I'm amazed when you turn off of the interstate and you turn on that dirt road to come into Fayetteville Motor Speedway. The grass is always cut. There's no trash laying around. Things are neat and clean. They take pride in what they do. They work really, really hard. And, I hope all the fans and the racers and everybody appreciate that and understands what kind of work goes in so they can prepare a place for us to come in and try to put on a really, really good show.
Well, I'm so glad that you said that, man, because it just triggered in the back of my mind. I've said this to Dave Mitchell countless times, and I love going to racetracks everywhere. But as soon as I leave, the first thing that hits me right in my noggin is I close the door and I think, man, how guilty am I for taking it for granted for what we have at the Fayetteville Motor Speedway, man, the facility, the staff. And, sometimes, Joey, I just can't help but, man, just speak my mind, and I'm going to do it right now. A lot of times, man, you get backed a little bit, man. It takes so long. They prep the track. Hey, you're getting what you pay for. Good racing on a good surface, because that's what those guys are doing, Joey. You know this as well as I do. We've been doing this a long time. We've been to racetracks together all over everywhere. I remember one of the very special ones, Volusia County with Jeff Smith, man, back in that Benson Ford #1. And let's don't go there because everybody know figure out how old we are. Our bald heads, and they'll know how old we are. But that's what those guys are doing, man. They're preparing, just as you say, a stage for a great performance. To deliver to the fans of what they want to see. You don't come to Fayetteville Motor Speedway and see a train race. Okay, you go down into turn 1, and whoever's leading coming off turn 2, that's probably who's going to be. You got side-by-side racing, you got 3-wide racing, and even there again, we can go back to last year, the Big C Memorial, a big huge race, and 20, 30 laps in, it's still anybody's race. Get down 10 laps, it's the 10 laps in left in the race. It's still anybody's race. I mean, they're side by side. Man, I won't ever forget last year. Rambo, Willie Milliken, Roush, Jeff Smith, Ethan Wilson up there, man. It was just lead change after lead change, side by side. I mean, it's exciting, and I'm pretty sure it'll be the same way this weekend too.
Well, and what happens is, in the world today, people are really, really quick to complain, and they're really, really slow to give you a pat on the back and tell you a good job. And all it takes is for one bad night, no matter what it is, whether it's rain or things just don't go as planned. And, people want to get off on the wrong foot. And you need to look at the complete body of work And when you do that, when you look at the overall package at Fayetteville Motor Speedway, you have to give them an A+.
Well, you have to look at it on the flip side of this as too, Joey. The racers I know appreciate it, but what fans need to do is instead of complain about it, embrace it, because what they don't understand, Dave Mitchell is a track promoter, but buddy, he's a racer too. You've got him who knows in a race car what he wants to feel. He's prepping it so, and then who any better in the country? Wayne Gray, Mr. Smooth, who has done this, man, like forever. Both of those guys have driven race cars for many, many years, and they know what the drivers want. Hey, I've heard them in conversation. Well, listen, man, if we don't go over here and blade this down a little bit, it's just going to get black right here. And, everybody's going to hug the bottom. We need to go up here and fill up the top here just a little bit. Let them blow that thing off themselves and get them a cushion. And Fayetteville Motor Speedway has become a place to kind of, live up to its name, the Carolina Bull Ring, the greatest place to watch the race.
Well, thank God I don't have to worry about any of that. That Dave Mitchell and the promoters and Wayne Gray and Fred, they take care of that. And it just allows us the opportunity to come in and do our little part and help put that puzzle together for tonight and try to put on a great show for the fans.
Well, it's going to be an awesome weekend. I think drivers' meeting for Saturday night is set at 6 o'clock. Cars will be hitting the track shortly thereafter. Hey, come on early. Come on. Get yourself a seat. Get ready. The Carolina Clash is coming back for their 78th trip in their 24th year of being a series back inside the Carolina Bull Ring. The Fayetteville Motor Speedway has been down for a little while, but we're coming back, and we're coming back with a big one. And as always, it's one of my favorites, especially, man, when it comes to the Carolina Clash Super Late Models. Let's talk about Joey, man, because everybody always wants to know whenever you got a big series coming, hey, who are some people that we know that we can tell that are going to be there? Or you probably want to choke me for doing this, but go ahead and tell me who's coming or what you maybe what you got up your sleeve.
Well, I don't typically call all the drivers every week. Obviously, Ben Watkins and Gray Parton and Adam Yarborough, you mentioned them. Them guys are coming. We have a pretty good following, and you can count on those guys coming. And Fayetteville is like so many other places. They got a great local support. The last time we were there were 37 cars at that racetrack. And here again, I'm gonna give a big shout out to the racers. We've had 5 races this year. We've had 137 total cars show up. That's averaging 28 cars a night. So that's 4 over a full field. So it's a big shout out to the racers. Thank you for supporting us and the racetracks that we get to partner with. And I'm looking for the same thing this weekend. Look for a good car count, a lot of fast race cars, and great show.
Well, let's talk about the boss man, Mr. Marion Limbaugh. I'm so excited, man, about getting to see him because, every time I get to see him, it's always a story to be told. But it's a different story, and they're all good. How's he been doing? What's he up to?
He's doing pretty good. He calls it semi-retired. Semi-retired. And he talked about it to me for years, what he was going to do when he got to that point. Well, he's got to that point, and he's busier now than he's ever been. But he stays busy. He's working really, really hard. I talk with him about every day, not just with the Clash stuff, but we're great friends, rely on each other a lot personally, and for the Clash and business stuff. So just a great guy. And one of the things that I love about him, and I think it makes the Clash so successful, and it's a credit to him and the guy who started the Clash, Larry Lee, was when they tell you something, go ahead and cash the check. It's good. Whatever they tell you, you can take it to the bank. And that just for years that has maintained the Clash and because of Larry, that's the way he was. Marion falls right into that same mold. And it just makes everybody have confidence in us and what we do. And, he's just a phenomenal leader.
The thing about him too, we talk about, he's the promoter owner of the series, just like Dave is the promoter of the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. And I just said, that he's a racer. Marion was a racer himself too, way back in the day.
Yes, he was. And there's so much of that goes on in this industry. Promoters and stuff. They're racers. You don't have to be a race car driver to be a racer. There are a lot of people in this industry that makes this thing work. From crew guys to truck drivers to the wives that put up with all that we do and stuff. So there's a whole lot of racers in this country, and I've always told people, if you would give me 20 minutes and let me go pick some people out, I can go pick me out about 25 racers and we can conquer the world. I don't care if you want to build a jet, go to the moon or whatever. We'll figure out how we going to get there.
Can you lay on a table and sleep on a steel table and build a race car for Ray Tucker to go fall asleep in a staging lane like he did years ago? You still got that in you, Joey?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's funny when I went up to Jeff's last year and worked on that car some for that Big C Memorial, I told Jeff, I can still do everything that I used to do, and he does too. It just takes us a little longer to recover,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Well, it's always exciting, man, to have you guys back, and we're really, really looking forward to it. Let's give you a moment, man, to thank some of the sponsors, man, to help you guys out with this great series that you guys have.
We do have a great support cast. VP Racing Fuels, Hoosier Racing Tires, American Racing Tires. They've been with us for years and years. Judy Yarborough come on board this year. Turkey's Towing, K-Man Auto Parts. We have a lot of great partners that come along beside us, and we're just so fortunate and blessed to be able to have those.
Well, I again, they're looking forward to this weekend and talking about 24 years, man, of the Carolina Clash. I hope to see again, and he always shows up, man, when you guys are really close to Fayetteville. I can never, ever forget, in one of the first races, Roger Lucas on a borrowed race car at County Line Raceway, courtesy of Big C. I hope that he'll be in the field this weekend too.
Yes, sir. I do too. Roger's an awesome guy. Been at it a long, long time, and he always does seem to show up. I know the last time we were there, something happened to him in hot laps, and he didn't even get to attempt to qualify. So hopefully, if he shows up, his luck will be a little better this time.
Well, maybe so. We hope to see him, and we hope to see a great field of cars, and we hope to see a lot of fans back home at our hometown racetrack, the Carolina Bull Ring, historic Fayetteville Motor Speedway. And for a lot of you fans that are just, starting to get into coming to Fayetteville Motor Speedway, we just want you to know that this is probably one of the most historic dirt racetracks in all of Eastern North Carolina. And we are so proud, Joey, to call that our home racetrack. I love being affiliated with it. Hey, and I also want to give a big shout out, man, to one of your crew members, JP, my man. He gets up with me today, and he wants to have the video of the promotion. He's taking Fayetteville Motor Speedway along with Carolina Clash. Hey, we've hit the Twitter world with the Clash, man. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he does a good job for us, he I texted him after you called me this morning, and he told me what he was doing, and I just appreciate everything that he does. We've got a great group of guys that's been with us for a long time, and just another part that makes us successful. Day in and day out, when we show up at a racetrack, the promoters, the staff, the racers, they know who they're going to see. They're not wondering who the tech guy is going to be and who the pit steward's going to be and who's going to be on the radio. It's we've got a solid core group of people, and it just makes all of our jobs so much easier.
Yeah, well, when you talk about all the people that it takes to do it, you talk about, getting your 20 minutes to get 25 people. You talk about truck drivers. You talk about the guys that turn the wrenches, the guys that wash the cars and all that. You mentioned the wives. So I'm going to make sure that Ashley, my wife, knows that you're even giving her a shout out, because, man, she puts up with a whole lot of stuff for me, man. You already know that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I do. Oh, we know it wouldn't happen without her.
That's exactly right.
We'd be in a world of mess without her. So, me and you couldn't do it.
That's exactly right. Well, we know your wife. I hope she'll be with us this weekend.
Yes, sir.
Merchandise trailer, any new Carolina Clash swag, or, I think the last time you guys came in, you kind of launched the new 2023 season, new Carolina Clash Rippin' Dirt t-shirts that were super cool, that I did not get mine. but I'm going to get it this weekend. So make sure you got an exhale for your little buddy here.
Yes, sir. I sure will. My wife will definitely be there. She'll be set up with the souvenirs and stuff. So y'all come on out and get you some of it.
All right, guys. Coming up this weekend, it is the Carolina Clash Super Late Model Dirt Series inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. $5,000 to win, $500 to start. Practice tomorrow night. Excuse me, inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway from 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock. And some of those guys are going to be turning laps. We've been on tonight with Series Director Joey Chapman, longtime friend of mine. And man, thank you so much for taking time to join us again. And man, I look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Yes, sir. See you Saturday, man.
All right, folks, thanks so much for watching. As we close out tonight's show, we're going to hear from Atwell Exterior Services out of Greenville, North Carolina. Trevor Atwell and Team Atwell Racing, big, huge supporters of our show, and they're big, big dirt race fans, and we thank them for what they do. And as always, be on the lookout. We could be coming to a racetrack near you, and you could be who we're talking about next, right here on the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. Join us Saturday night, Fayetteville Motor Speedway, the Carolina Bull Ring, no doubt the greatest place to watch the race. Thanks for watching, everybody, and good night.
Atwell Exterior Services and Team Atwell ride with a winner. Congratulations to Trevor Atwell and the team at Atwell Exterior Services in Greenville, North Carolina. Atwell is the top-rated roofing and exterior renovations company in racing country, and Team Atwell has sponsored so many great racing teams for years. Ride with a winner on your roof or on the track. Atwell Exterior Services. Atwell Exterior Services and Team Atwell Racing. Ride with a winner.